Hello everyone, Antibody here again, bringing you an interview this time with FruitieX, one of the core developers of Xonotic. So let's start things off. Tell me a little bit about yourself, Fruity. Where are you from? And tell some basic background stuff, things that you don't mind everyone knowing.
Hi everyone, this is FruitieX from Finland. I'm 17 years old, and well, I have some weird hobbies, such as machine dance like In the Groove or DDR, if you ever heard of these. And believe it or not, I also play golf. But it's mostly computers, of course.
How long have you been playing Nexius and Xonotic? And what's kept you playing over the years?
I've been playing Nexus since the 1.2.1 days, I think, so that would be a good 5 years by now. And what must have kept me playing was that the idea that the game was completely free for anyone. And later on, the Peace Brothers clan that I joined, and we kept abusing the game for all kinds of things like 3D chat and so on, having a lot of fun in it.
What would you consider some of the strengths in your gameplay? How about your weaknesses?
The strength in my gameplay is probably that once I get a kill spree going, it'll just keep on going for a little while. Even if I'm not necessarily controlling the map or anything, I'm just hitting the enemy just like that. And well, the weakness is probably that sometimes I'm going a little too aggressive when I play, or too defensive even sometimes. That usually means I'll completely screw up the item control in the end.
You've been a driving force behind many of the balance changes. What's your goal for these things and what do you want to see out of them?
Yeah, I did quite a lot of work on those things, together with some other guys. It started out on the dev channel, where Different or someone was saying how bad those Nexus SVN settings that we had back then really were. And since no one else really did anything about that situation, I thought I'd just give it a shot, since I had worked on some other stuff from next run, for balance and physics settings there. So I thought it might actually work out. My goal for them is to create something different from Nexus. Xonotic is a different game after all. And to create something balanced, hopefully. That's the most important thing, of course. And I'm trying to do this with feedback from the community, really trying to listen to what people want, what ideas they have. But really, I think the most important thing here is that we get some settings that are very unique to the game, and balanced both for casual gamers and pro players.
You implemented a pretty nifty HUD panel system. What gave you that idea?
That idea came from me and Diabolic. Taoki had some similar ideas as well. We chatted around a little bit, but I really didn't think it was going to be possible to implement such code in Quake C. But in the end we got started, and soon we had some panels that we could move around, really basic stuff. The next step was to add some collision code, and then actually make them show something useful. After lots of work, bug testing, implementing new ideas, we had a working HUD system.
You're known as a very speedy racer in Next Run. How did you get your start racing?
I started racing right after the race mod had been implemented in Nexus. Then it was of course using the Nexus physics, but later on the CPMA physics were implemented in Nexus as well. That's where the Next Run project really got kick-started. And later on we could add some defrag maps and play on those as well. That opened up lots of new maps. Of course, since defrag has some 4,000 maps or something. Back then I already knew the basics for strafing, which I had learned from Warsaw. That I hadn't played too much, but I liked the idea of strafing and the movement in general in that game. So it was just a matter of practicing and fine-tuning, and then trying to beat others' records.
Who do you play with most often?
Back in the Nexus day, I used to play really anyone who added up to the pickup bot, since I played quite a lot of pickup games. But now I'd say that Unknown is the one I play most, because he helps quite a lot with the balance stuff. And in general he is just as scrappy as I am, so the matches tend up to be pretty even out. Can't really say that about the matches against Coin. Mwahaha.
What are you most looking forward to in Xonotic?
I'm looking forward to seeing lots of players, at least hopefully, and the new balance changes of course and how they work out, because there's new stuff such as the next charge, which I haven't even heard about in other games.
What are the biggest challenges you see right now for the project?
I think the biggest challenge right now is if the community gets split up this early on. For instance, if people don't like the new changes and create their own balances, it'll split the community lots. So hopefully everyone just keeps together. If something is really wrong, of course it'll get changed and patched later on.
Do you have any advice you'd like to share for new players?
My advice for new players would be to ask around if you have something unclear. Don't be shy, the community is very helpful and friendly. You'll definitely get some help. Plus there'll probably be some sort of tutorials for at least movement, maybe weapons, after Xonotic is released.
Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, sure, I'll give a shout to Divrent for all the work he's done to Xonotic. Things you really couldn't even imagine about in Nexus, such as auto build, player authorization and the all helper script for Git.
Well, that concludes my interview with FruitieX, one of the core developers of Xonotic. Thank you very much for participating, Fruity, and for all the listeners out there, check up on IRC and the forums for my next one. Thanks again.